Trump's trans military ban is still moving ahead, despite rumors that it's been put on hold, and Australia's just been hit with a wave of anti-gay ads. Fortunately, there are a bunch of ways that you can help resist these attacks. We'll have all that and more on Weekly Debrief. So is that military ban moving ahead or not? There's been a lot of conflicting misinformation in the past week, so here's what's actually going on. First, Trump's intentions have always been a little vague because his entire policy statement on trans service has consisted of 3 tweets. Well, last week he made that a little more official by issuing a memo. According to that memo, the military will not allow any new trans people to enlist and will also refuse to cover any transition-related medical care. Now, this doesn't explicitly mean that trans soldiers are getting kicked out, but by denying medically necessary treatment as a condition of employment, this policy effectively encourages trans people to leave the army as soon as possible for their own well-being. Now, there was a rumor this week that the Defense Department was putting that policy on hold so they could study whether or not it was a good idea, but that's not actually true. That study's already been done, and the conclusion was that a ban like Trump's is a terrible idea. What the Defense Department is studying now is how fast they can implement that terrible idea. Now that may seem like it doesn't make any sense, and that's because it doesn't. Meanwhile, in Canada, trans people have been serving in the military for a quarter century without any problem, and this week Defense Chief Jonathan Vance, the highest-ranking military officer in the country, marched in Ottawa Pride. He didn't even have to do a study first. So, what can stop Trump's attack on trans service members from moving ahead? That would be a super team of LGBT activists. NCLR, GLAAD, Lambda, SDLN, and the ACLU are all suing, and they're moving very fast. One of those lawsuits could get a response in the next week, which could put a halt on the ban for real, at least temporarily. Over in Australia, that postal survey on marriage equality is about to kick off, and already the anti-equality side is putting out misleading ads. According to TV ads from religious groups, marriage equality is going to be a threat to children and schools, somehow. That might seem familiar, because it's the exact same story that the anti-equality side pushed in the United States. But the good news is that because those arguments were used so extensively to block marriage in the US, we've had plenty of time to figure out an effective counter-argument. It's real simple, and here it is. Kids learn their values at home, so no matter what's taught in schools, it's the parents' values that stay with their kids. That's it. That's all there is to it. When voters hear that, they tend to think, oh, okay, marriage equality isn't a threat after all. The survey starts September 12th, and ballots should be sent back by October 27th. The results are not legally binding, but a strong result in favor of marriage equality could pave the way towards an actual vote in the legislature, with some optimistic estimates that if the survey goes well, Australia could get marriage equality by the end of this year. So, this week's action item? If you live in Australia, head over to equalitycampaign.org.au. They have lots of opportunities to volunteer and donate. And if you don't live in Australia, you can still help just by following along on social media, liking, favoriting, retweeting. The more that campaign's message spreads internationally, the more likely it'll be to reach someone who can participate in the survey. And that goes for this video too. Please continue to share these weekly debriefs to keep folks informed about LGBT issues around the world. Let me know your thoughts in the YouTube comments, and I'll debrief you next week.